What's up, everybody? This is TwoTenEast, and I am back with another review/discussion weekly series. This time, we are going to be taking on the show Navillera or Navillera. Not quite sure how to pronounce it yet. It is a K-drama that has just premiered on Netflix. It's going to have 12 episodes in total, and one episode will be dropping every week. So before I get into this first episode, let's just quickly establish the two main protagonists of this series. We've got Sim Deok-chul, an older man in his 70s, and Lee Chae-rok, a young man who is a ballet dancer. So the basic setup is that Deok-chul wants to become a ballet dancer. He wants to start learning ballet even in his 70s because it's something he's always wanted to do. And it seems like before even watching the first episode that these two are going to meet and form a relationship and a bond. That is pretty much all I knew going into the show. I had seen the trailer and it looked really good. It looks like it's going to be a very powerful, heartfelt drama. And with that all being said, let's just get right into episode 1 and start this series off. So the episode begins with a funeral scene where Deok-chul is talking with all his other older friends, and they're all kind of reflecting on life and mortality, how they have lived their lives and how they plan on living the rest of it. One of the lines that really stood out to me in this scene, and I'm paraphrasing here, is that as you get older, goodbyes get easier. And obviously, I think this applies on a literal level in terms of, at this age, more often than not, if anything major is happening to one of your friends, it's probably that they're dying, which is, I know, pretty morbid. But also, I think that saying goodbye can also relate to one's dreams or one's ambitions. And I think this is going to be part of a theme that this show is establishing already in this first episode, which is how we as a society view old people and their worth, and also how old people view themselves. I'll get to that more later as we get further into the episode. But the next thing I wanted to touch on is I found it really interesting how Deok-chul was drawn to the studio space where he first sees Chae-rok. All of us watching as the audience hears this music, but it's not really clear whether the music is diegetic or non-diegetic. In other words, it's not really clear, at least it wasn't to me, whether Chae-rok was actually playing music that he was dancing to, which I'm sure he was, but the way the music sounds and the way that Deok-chul reacts to it seems like it's left a little ambiguous whether the music he's hearing is in his head or not. We never see Chae-rok turn off a radio or a boombox where he was playing his music from. So again, of course, yes, it could be something he was dancing to, but I just like how the scene was constructed where it seems like it's a blending of those two things. Deok-chul actually hearing the music and also a non-diegetic kind of feeling that comes over him, the fate that has been decided for him and his character. So we learn a bit more about Chae-rok. He's getting ready to compete in the national ballet competition. He's got his trainer, Mr. Ki, who is definitely hard on him and pushes him, but so far it seems like he's actually very supportive and genuinely wants to see Chae-rok succeed and is just pushing him because he knows that's what he needs. We learn that Chae-rok has some daddy issues. Apparently his dad is in prison and is getting out soon. It's actually on the same day as his audition. Okay, then there's this scene with Deok-chul and he's meeting with all of his family for his birthday. They all came for that. And his wife kind of answers the question for him that I think it's his granddaughter asks what he wishes for. And his wife just kind of interrupts him and is like, oh, well, of course, he wishes for only two things, just for the success and health of you young people, and then he also wishes not to be a burden to you guys. And again, there's this attitude held by his wife, and I think a lot of people, which is that old people only serve a limited function once they're old in the eyes of society, which is that, oh, they're there to be loving grandparents and dote on their grandchildren and wish well for the next generation. So we see this real difference between Deok-chul's attitude and his wife's attitude. Deok-chul feels a little unfulfilled. He feels like he doesn't know what to do with himself now that he's retired. Even though he's been okay with it up until now, he still finds himself feeling like he needs to do something. On the other hand, his wife approaches her old age with the mindset that her children's lives are her top priority, and making sure they are okay is her life. So even though she comes across as kind of rude, interrupting him and assuming how he feels, you can see where she's coming from as well. So besides this, during the scene, there seems to be a lot of inner family issues. We've got the kind of black sheep brother, Seong-gwan, who is judged by one of his older brothers for quitting his job at the hospital or something. I'm sure we'll learn more about Deok-chul's family as the show goes on. Alright, so then we find out a little bit more about Chae-rok. It seems that his mom has passed away. Then in this scene, Deok-chul talks to yet another older person like himself. This time it's his friend that is a burger delivery guy. And we can compare his outlook on life with the other friend that he meets at the home, who he drops off candy for, I guess, every week, and also his wife. So we know what the wife's attitude towards old age is. The guy at the home with the candy, he's the one that most encourages Deok-chul to go and follow his dreams and do what he wants, do what he never could do before, even in this stage of life where he's old and seems like there's not even worth doing anything. His friend wanted to build his own boat and go sailing, and I guess his job had him selling boats to other people, but he never got to actually build one for himself, which is obviously tragically poetic. Then we get back to this delivery guy who basically just says, hey, retirement is just for relaxing. You've lived your long life, and now you just relax and sit around and spend time with your wife, get points with her, and just go on vacation and do fun stuff. He says that the only reason he still works as a delivery guy is that his wife died early, so he needs to keep himself busy. But he says to Deok-chul that, hey, your wife's still there, go spend time with her, be with her, find fulfillment in your marriage and loving each other and all that stuff. So again, in this first episode, we are seeing through Deok-chul's experience with the people he meets up with 3 different perspectives on how older people should live their life at this age. Okay, then we get to some more Chae-rok, and he's working, but this blonde dude comes in and kind of is glaring at him. We don't know what's up with him. And it turns out that he has been the one who is sending text messages to Chae-rok saying that he doesn't deserve a good life. It seems that whatever Chae-rok's dad did to get in prison, it affected this blonde dude in a big way. I think later it's revealed that Chae-rok's dad was the coach for the soccer team, and then something happened. Anyways, this blonde guy really resents the fact that Chae-rok's dad is about to go free when he's caused so many people, including himself, a lot of pain. So the guy then just storms out after confronting Chae-rok, doesn't pay for his meal, and Chae-rok pays for it himself. He tells his manager, it's okay, if you didn't pay, I'll pay for it. Which is definitely a nod to the fact that Chae-rok is obviously feeling a lot of guilt for what has happened. We get a flashback with both of them, and yeah, it seems they were on the same soccer team together, and Chae-rok quit for whatever reason we don't know yet, and I'm sure we'll know more about this as the series unfolds. Okay, so then Deok-chul sees an ad at the bus stop for Swan Lake. He goes to see the performance, and the show was great. I really don't know anything about ballet, but I can definitely speak to the production level of this series because the dance numbers looked really authentic. It looks like they really pulled out all the stops and got real dancers, and yeah, it just looks really cool and impressive. Okay, so then there's this scene with Chae-rok and Mr. Key. Mr. Key tells him he has no emotion in his dance, and he's just going through the motions mechanically. There's a flashback to when he first met Mr. Key, and there he says that he didn't really think, he just went off his emotions. And I just wanted to bring this up because I think it shows a kind of parallel between Chae-rok and Deok-chul. Basically, that what Mr. Key describes is Chae-rok's problem with his dancing sounds a lot like how Deok-chul feels right now in his life, that he has no kind of emotion or passion or fulfillment, and he's just kind of going through the motions of being old and doing whatever old people are supposed to do. We also find out in a scene right after this with Deok-chul and his wife talking in bed that Deok-chul growing up was never allowed to dance. His father forbid him from doing it and kind of said it was a waste of time, that it's not going to be a career that will make him any money, he won't be able to provide for himself or a family, and also that he shouldn't want to be a boy who dresses up and dances with makeup on. Also, holy shit, the dad's haircut is atrocious. Whoever his barber is a menace to society and must be stopped at all costs. All right, so then Chae-rok has his audition. He shows up, but then right when his audition is about to take place, he leaves and goes to the prison where his dad is being released that same day, and he waits there, but his dad doesn't show up, and he learns from the guard that his dad got released earlier that morning, so it turns out he could have gone to his audition no problem, but obviously this is something that's on his mind and is preventing him from really giving himself fully to dance and putting everything into it. He does briefly talk with his dad, who calls from a payphone, and the dad kind of just says, "Hey, I'm out. I've got a job my friend set me up with. I'll be in touch. Peace." And obviously, Chae-rok wanted more from his dad than this. I think he's hoping for some kind of reconnection there. And yeah, I just feel really bad for the kid. So just like Chae-rok is experiencing a lot of guilt for what happened, as we see with the blonde guy and that whole incident, it's definitely possible that the dad is also feeling very guilty and ashamed of what he's done and how his son might see him. And that could be a reason why he's being so distant and not wanting to see his son right away. He could just be a shitty dad, though. We don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, guessing as to what his reasons could be. All right, then we get this really, really sad and heartbreaking scene. We find out that Deok-chul's friend, the old guy in the home that he brings candy to every week, is dead. He has passed away. I wasn't quite clear what happened, but I think maybe he jumped off his balcony. I wasn't sure, but that seemed to be the implication. Anyways, this whole flashback scene where we see how the friend wrote a goodbye letter and then imagined himself hearing the ocean waves and that he was finally gonna get to build his own boat and sail off into the ocean. It was just really heartbreaking, and he makes the little paper boat. And even though this guy passes away in the first episode, it's pretty clear that he's already had a big effect. He's the one that's encouraged Jung-chul to go after what he wants to do, even at his old age. And the paper boat that he left seems like it's going to become this symbol for Deok-chul and his ambition and his passion. So then Deok-chul watches Chae-rok again at the studio, and Chae-rok is finally like, "Okay, buddy, like, what's your deal? You've been just standing there watching me. What do you want?" And Deok-chul, being the awesome protagonist that he is, just comes out and says it, "I want to do ballet." So he meets up with Mr. Key, and turns out Mr. Key is a pretty big deal. He's well known, and Deok-chul is actually a fan of his. But Mr. Key pretty much just tries to turn him down. He's like, "This is a practice studio, there's no lessons here." And I just love our main character already, guys. He's not giving up that easily. So the next day, Deok-chul sits and watches Chae-rok practice, and Mr. Key's like, "Yeah, sure, you can watch, whatever, fuck it." And after Chae-rok finishes his routine, Deok-chul stands up and claps for him, and god damn it, he's so supportive and sweet. Everyone needs a hype man like that in their life, and yeah, it's just a really wholesome moment. But of course, Chae-rok is really annoyed by it because he's just trying to practice, and who the fuck is this old guy here? Also, I love how Mr. Key keeps telling Chae-rok how Deok-chul reminds him of him 4 years ago, and it's just all serving to strengthen these parallels between both of these characters. So of course, Deok-chul just won't quit. If he can't sit in the studio and watch, he sits outside, watches through the window, and tries to like learn the movements just by looking. And Mr. Key is starting to really respect him and feels how much he wants to do this and how determined he is. We also find out that Deok-chul's granddaughter, Yoon-ho, actually works at the same place as Chae-rok. And yeah, I kind of saw that coming, but it's still a cool layer that's added into the whole narrative. She kind of messes up with two customers who ask for a recommendation, but then Chae-rok comes in and kind of saves her ass. They don't actually get to talk during the scene, which was a shame, but I'm sure that they will be interacting in the episodes to come. Also, it really seems like everybody knows about this whole soccer incident because two of the other workers are talking about it. So yeah, I really can't wait to find out more about this whole soccer incident and what actually happened with Chae-rok, his dad, and the whole team, and what Chae-rok's dad did that sent him to prison. All right, then we get to the end of the episode, and I kind of saw this little twist coming already before it happened, but I didn't really mind because I really like the characters so far. I like their backstory. They've been developed well in just one episode. So even though I kind of saw this coming, I was still so hyped for it. So basically, Mr. Key tells Chae-rok, hey, you're gonna teach this old man how to do ballet. And Chae-rok's like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was just thinking, let's go. I cannot wait to see this. I can't wait to see how these characters form a bond. And I assume they are going to learn from each other. It seems that Mr. Key has this kind of master plan where he thinks that Chae-rok is going to, by teaching Deok-chul, learn a lot himself and thus fix that missing piece that's keeping him from reaching his full potential as a dancer. And then obviously Deok-chul will benefit from learning ballet, the thing he's always wanted to do. All right, so this was just a really great setup, a really great start to this show. It's got a lot of potential. I can't wait to see where it goes. I'm anticipating a lot of feel-good moments, some sad moments, heartbreaking moments, and also some comedy because this young guy teaching this old guy to do ballet, there's just got to be some laughs in that. Anyways, what did you guys think about this first episode and this show? Are you excited for it? Do you like it so far? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I'll be dropping a video every week after each episode premieres. We can all discuss it in the comments. It should be a lot of fun. And yeah, that's it for me and this video. I'll catch you guys next week, hopefully. Have a great day. I'm out.